Hi, my name is Denise and welcome to our Teaching Online Rapid Response series. This video I'm talking about balancing your teacher role online. This video is a little longer than some of the others and there is a shorter version of this if you would prefer. I started teaching online in 2014 and I really at first struggled to figure out all the different parts of my role because it was so different to having taught in a classroom. So things I used to do instinctively were suddenly really different online. But when I understood that there's 4 really key parts of the online teacher role, it helped me break down and understand the things I should be doing for each topic and for my courses overall. So the managerial role is the first one, and don't worry about taking too many notes. You can download these PowerPoints and have all of these words. So the managerial role is about structure and setting expectations. So making sure your students know what you want from them and when you want it. A checklist I have here includes clear communication and a pathway. Let them know how to get from A to B. The second role is your pedagogical role. So some teachers call this sort of the real teaching part. And this is where you engage your students with the key concepts or what it is you want them to learn. Now in online, it's really important that you do things in small pieces. You try to make things more engaging. So in a classroom, if you were going to just talk at them about a topic and have them risk falling asleep, that's 10 times worse online. Everything gets exacerbated online. So you've got to do things in smaller chunks and keep it more lively and more interesting. Find ways of provoking thought and getting them to do something in small pieces after each idea. So here's a quick checklist for the pedagogical role. I say drive curiosity and creativity. So for teachers with younger students, one example is if you're wanting to talk about learning how to measure the area of a rectangle, get them to go out and measure their own backyard. Get them to measure the desk they're working at. Things that they can do in the home that actually bring that learning to life. I know another teacher who's doing a small unit on recycling, and she's got the students online doing an in-home observation survey of the recycling. And they're doing photographs and all sorts of things as they do a survey as the whole class of what's going on in the recycling. And compare and contrast, always a good idea. It works for a lot of different age groups, from lilies right up to actual adults. Compare and contrast activities work. So comparing things they can observe or things that they know about. And so getting students to work together works really well online. The next role you have is very, very critical and it's often overlooked. It's your social role. So just because we're now physically isolated from each other for a short time, we shouldn't be socially isolated. So building and maintaining rapport with your students is more important than ever. Staying human, letting personality shine through, making sure your students can bring their personality to the class as well is really, really important. And so my checklist here is, I've highlighted their real personalities because it's so important. And just don't forget that they need to see you, and that gives them permission to also be seen. The final role is the technological role. So this is where you select and utilize technology in really purposeful ways. Start off simple. Don't go for the flashiest technology out there because it's often really distracting. The simple things often work the best. And make sure your students are comfortable with the technology. So I often get students, whether they're young or old, to do a practice fun icebreaker with the technology before the real task begins, so that they can practice using things, just doing something fun that doesn't matter. So it's quite safe for them to do so. It doesn't matter if they make a mistake. My checklist here is very much about using the environment and the stuff that you have. Don't worry about trying to find the latest apps. Some are very good, and if you get them, great, but don't make technology the point. It's simply a tool for you to do what you know is good teaching. So the theoretical ideal is that we have all of these 4 roles in balance. And I don't know about you, but I have never looked at that in balance teaching, whether it's face-to-face or online, because the reality of our life is it's more complicated than that. But every time I think through how I'm planning out a learning topic, I do try and think about these 4 roles and making sure I'm bringing a little bit of each of it in the right way. Reality is though, it can feel like this sometimes, especially when you're suddenly moving to online, and my very first experience of online was very, very sudden and unexpected, so I appreciate that. And I know that we also have other things in the air like exams and testing and administration. So there's a lot going on, but the idea of this video was just to introduce you to these 4 roles and just give you some language to think and talk about how you're going to bring balance to each of your topics as you move to online. I hope you found that useful and helpful. The slides are available on our website, and thank you so much for joining this community as we all work towards moving online in very sudden times. Take care. See you soon.